What's up, guys? This is a remake of a previously posted video that I made several years back on how to hop. Me and my son have a very different method of hopping, and since his is so goofy compared to mine, I thought it would be a good idea for you to see the two. It's arguably that he might be a better hopper than I am. All right, so my method of hopping is I lift it up about 90% of the way. So you'll lift it up 90% of the way, and then right before you're about to hop it, I'll hold down the dump till it gets to about, say, 30% of the way down, let's just say. So you hold it and then pop it back up. And then after you've popped it, you hold it until you reach that bottom point to pop it again. Now that's just how I do it. Imagine a trampoline. Once you reach a certain point, you're going to push off again. But you got to wait until that spring pushes you back up again, and then that's when you push off. That's how I do it. So it's okay. Now I'm gonna show it in action here in just a minute, but that's my method.
Okay, so you already saw his method, and mine is a little different. Mine is like a flick. He already went over how the springs work, so I'm not gonna get into that. His is more of a hold down and then up, hold down and then up, but a lot quicker than that. Mine is more of a flick, so it's all one movement. So instead of it being 1 and 2 and they're two different movements, that's one movement. Now I also let go. I don't know why I do that. It's just more comfortable for me to do that, and it clearly works for me. And this car, I've noticed that after hitting the switches so many times that on the way up, I don't have to hold it so much for it to go as high as I know that it's gonna go. And I also don't have to hold it down super long because I have my dumps set to where I like. My slowdowns are cracked just perfectly to where I'm used to it being at. So it's more of a flick, and it's one movement instead of... Note, before you try any of this, make sure you have a fire extinguisher beside you so that if anything goes wrong, you can grab it. I have a tiny one right there. No matter if it's big enough or not, it's still going to be used if anything goes wrong. So just note that. Don't always have that near you or on you. I drive this every day, so I always have one on the floorboard. I've never had to use one, so I hope if I ever have to, I know what I'm doing, but just always have one near you. So for me, it doesn't matter where it starts out at. It could be all the way up or all the way down. It doesn't matter. I like to do the two hit and then start it from there. A two hit is this. So basically, when you do a two hit, you're going up, and then as it comes back down, you're not hitting anything as it comes back down. It's just the compression of it going up the first time. So as it goes down that first time, I'm hitting it up again. It already came off the ground right there, and I didn't even start hopping. So as it comes off the ground is when I start my hop.
Alright, so here's how I like to do it. Pop it up about 90% or 100. Drop it. As soon as it reaches its point, pop it back up. Pop it up. So there's several factors when it comes to hopping. It's not just about hitting the switch, it's a lot of other factors. This video was mainly to show hitting the switch and the way to hit the switch, or different ways to hit the switch. Everybody's got their own style. The best thing to do is go out and practice makes perfect. You get into it for a pretty good while. I know a friend of mine that hadn't been able to hit a switch for probably the last almost 20 years that I've known him, but now that he's got a nice dancer, he's able to hop the crap out of that thing. So practice makes perfect. My son started out hitting the switch and he wasn't the greatest at it, but he caught on pretty quick. He's got his own style. It's a little goofy to me, but it is his own style, and he's more consistent than I am. But I feel like I can still beat him on the hop. Anyway, so when it comes down to your hop, you got a lot of different factors, one of which is springs, one of which is cylinders, which hoses you're running on your fittings, what pump head, how many batteries, what type of pump you're running. There's so many different factors that comes into how high, you know, your ride is gonna hop. This was supposed to be a lay and play. He likes to hit the switch literally everywhere he goes, so we attached a hopper switch on there just so he could have a little bit more fun at some shows. With that said, he is running 6 batteries to the front, 3 ton, actually I think it's 3/4 ton, 3 1/4 ton hopping springs on the front. He has 8s in the front, 3/8 cylinders all the way to the back, or excuse me, 3/8 hoses to the back. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. Oh, and he's got a built Marzucci number 9 to the front. It's actually a built number 9. It's not just a, you know, you bought a number 9 and you put it in there. It's been ported and polished. It's a nice number 9. Came from a reputable company back in the day that did all the extra work to it. So it's not just as simple as hitting the switch, just so you know. So I want to point out one more thing. When hopping, you want to make sure that it is either in neutral or you're driving down the street. When you're parked and you go to hit that switch, you're going to be messing with the drive shaft and the transmission, you know, moving it back and forth. It's not good to do it that way. You should have it in neutral whenever you go to hop. But do it on a level ground, because if you don't, it'll start rolling one way or another, obviously. So another thing to consider is how high you have the rear of your car. There's a certain point where balance does affect how your hop is going to be. So what I mean by that is, if you lock out the rear all the way up, just remember you're kind of pushing all that weight to the front. Some of these massive hoppers that have the rear lifted really high, keep in mind that they got a ton of batteries in the back, or a lot of weight, something like that in the back, to where when it starts to go, and they've got plenty of power, when it starts to go, you know, it's got plenty of power and everything to go. With lay and play types of setups, for example like this, when you lock up the rear all the way out and you're letting that balance go all the way forward, sometimes it can affect it. So when he goes to hop it, a lot of times he'll leave it about halfway up. Now it's a catch-22 though. So if you don't lock out the rear can mess with your bounce as well. So if it's when you're locking out the rear, it's stiff. But when you don't lock out the rear, it's going to be a little soft and it may try to fight you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, like, and comment in the comment section below. Also, if you can't find the answers to the questions that you're looking for, look in the description area. All of my previously posted videos are in that section. A lot of the answers to your questions are in there. Also, follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.